Hey guys, I'm just doing a hand history review for Bluffyou 123 or Bluff 123U or whatever it is from Card Chat. I'm doing it as my 2K post and we'll see how it goes. I may have to re-record it if this one doesn't go well. First hand, yeah, 3x is fine. Really gross 3-bet sizing, but we can just effectively set mine here, especially when he calls. Just check folding on all flops we miss on. I'm just letting it go. The call's okay, except that he's going to have a lot of weird, like, ace king, king queen over pairs that all going to bet this flop. The sizing's pretty weird, but then he obviously bets too small on all streets since he bet so small on the pre-flop and flop. On the turn, pretty much all of his range that wasn't ahead of us, like ace queen, ace jack, is now ahead of us. So I'd just be check folding turn. And river's a really easy fold when that rolls around. Fine with fold pre. Same guy calls us, which is weird. Probably size it around 3x as min raise, just because we've got this fish in the hand already who probably won't fold if we make it like even like 390, maybe between 390 and 410, just because we're out of position. This guy's already overcalled a 3-bet, so we're likely to be able to juice the pot if we make it like 415, 410ish. Then when we get called by 1, 2, we can like 2 SPR, which is really like ideal to get stacks in, especially when this guy does something awful like just dry heaves on us. Sorry. 600 is a little big, just because it removes the ability for this guy and this one to like cold flat. Because if they can flat us, then we can pretty much fold up the opener and just play a really bloated pot where we've effectively reduced effective stacks down to an SPR. Like, if we get called here, the SPR is going to be pretty much pot size, and we don't need it to be pot size. We can make it like 400, and we might get 1 or 2 calls, and we can get it in pretty comfortably 22 into like, you know, like 17, 1600, rather than trying to juice the pot to 2400 type thing. Yeah, and that what happens because it's just like, I don't think there's a really easy way for any of them to flat because you're putting in so much of their relative stacks. But that's fine. Easy folds. Happy you folders. Depends on any reads on either of these guys, and I highly doubt you have any given it, but we could ISO here. We could also just limp behind. ISOing's not going to be as attractive because assuming this is the same guy here, yeah, new table. Yeah, that's right, new table. Yeah, ISOing isn't as attractive just because of the buy-in. I expect us to get overcalled by a whole bunch, but limping behind I don't think has any real drawback, so the 100 big blind's effective. Just when everyone's going to play so awfully post-flop. Wow. 2s, I guess. Or like a random 2 pair. But we should note that this guy makes absurd raise sizes. So when he like virtually min raises us, we'll know it's not the first time. You can open there, but folding's fine as well. Fold's definitely fine there. Fine. Sorry. Yeah, folding's fine. Yeah, see this guy, I'd be tagging him as immediately punty. Just because anyone that's dry heaving, he's probably doing this relatively wide. It's because people don't do that with just the nuts. If they're bad enough to jam their entire stack, and then they're going to be, yeah, fine. More inclined to just jam a massive range. We should be open, yeah. Sorry. I'm usually the one that just sits on Skype rather than clicking buttons in these videos. So I'm a bit noobish at it. Yeah, it's fine. Given this is a turbo, a lot of the decisions are going to be push forward, so if anything tight comes up, I'm either going to go Nash it off screen or ghost over it, depending on what I think is more appropriate. Yeah. we don't really want to flat. I think flatting's pretty bad because if we flat, I don't think his if we flat and he jams, it's not going to be a legal bet. I don't think it's gonna be what six, it's gonna be 450, and he's gonna have to put in. Oh no, we could flat here and back rows, but then again, this guy's so short as well. It's just we never ever want him to flat, and if he's bad enough to limp 8 big blinds, he's bad enough to flat it. So I think 3-bet calling is probably a bit better, making it like 1100 and calling off a jam. Just because there's the times that he jams worse on us because he's jam happy. But yeah, obviously, wow, turbos getting it in really, really good. Yeah, well that worked out alright. Yeah, fine with a fold. I'd be tagging that guy as a massive fish, which I hope you do. There's not a hell of a lot of room to isolate. I don't mind isolating like anywhere over 18 bigs. I understand that a lot of people aren't as comfortable with it, but I think given this guy shows he's pretty awful, we can isolate him here to like 3-8-8 or even like 4-1-1 pretty comfortably. Don't like limping behind because we're just never, doing fine in a multi-way pot with 20 bigs effective. You can open. It's pretty anti though, so I'd probably that'd probably be a close fold. I'm probably opening like 8-9 suited plus, maybe yeah, probably 7-8 suited plus most suited aces, like ace 7 offsuit, king 9 suited plus king 10 off. Probably a bit too wide, but no one's shown the ability to play backy or do anything, so that's just free chips you can be making. And I tend to open way wider if you see one person in the big blind who's just gonna call and fold all flops. Like if there's a huge station, don't fold any street, then obviously you want to have like a pretty wide value range. But we can open our value and our steal range if they're playing extremely fit fold, just because it's an instantly profitable open C bet. No need to do this. We're effective. Yeah, I've been min raising. We're at 17 bigs, so I mean, I think it's 17. Yeah, 17 and a half bigs. So I mean, you could jam it. A lot of people jam it. I don't really advocate jamming it pre-ante because it's just never getting called by worse, and it's a lot of chips to put in versus some relatively awful players. So really, I'd min raise it and call off a shove from this guy here, and probably fold to him, calling him, folding. But I've been min raising it because the times we fold, we've just lit half a big blind on fire for no reason, and it doesn't garner any more fold equity. Yeah, I suppose you can call versus that guy too, but I wouldn't be calling anyone here unless you have reads that they're punty, just because their range to get it in with people still that act like they're going to be folding threes or just calling threes. They're probably not getting it in with much worse, maybe sevens, but it would be more likely nines plus ace 10 without any other reads, just because people are scared. Probably ace 10 wouldn't even get it in from their spots, which is why it's a good min raise open rather than an open jam, in my opinion. But nice hold. Reasonable fold. I don't really like defending. I'd just probably open fold, especially if we're just checking down to call on the river, because his range is way ahead of us. I haven't seen him do anything in the. I suppose we've only seen 31 hands in the tournament, but there's no reason that we're not getting the correct odds to really set mine at all, and we're just giving up a ton of equity if we're only continuing on flops where we hit. Like, when you think about it, the only flops we really want to continue on are low pairs, and we're going to value town ourselves pretty hard when he's got over pairs, which is a significant chunk of his range. He has like 7s plus, 8s plus, and like all ace 10 suited plus, and then like king queen, probably not jack 10, he doesn't seem that loose, like king queen suited maybe even that folds, like. And on the low boards we're not getting any value, and like he's virtually reverse free. We're virtually setting up a reverse free roll when we don't hit because we're dead to all of his overpairs pretty much, and his, all of his 2-card overs still have like a reasonable amount of equity versus us, so I'd just rather fold pre and maintain like a pretty comfortable stack, especially when when the blinds go up, like, just open chips, pretty easy, yeah. I like that you made it that size, it just looks scary to him. You could bet, like, doesn't really matter, you can play around with sizes against him, but it's all effectively a shove. I tend to just click the max button because I'm pretty lazy. I've got 2.2, 2.5 and max on my bet sizing thing pre-flop, because I can just click once to get to 3x, so it's 3x. Occasionally I go like 2.7 and then 2.5 down to 2.2 over 30 bigs, and then once we get to 20 it's min raise. Effective stacks, that is. Fine with the fold, especially with the effective stack sizes behind us. Fine with that. Yeah, it's fine. There's no real need to do anything silly. Right. This is kind of close. The fact he min raises really polarizes his range. It could equally be misclick, but I just don't think we have heaps of fold equity against his range. I also don't really want to overcall and see a flop 3 ways, although that wouldn't be the worst. I don't really want to fold either, so I guess there's what? A wee bit in the middle. Yeah, we're looking at like a decent portion of our stack, so I think shoving's okay. Yeah, but that happens a lot. His range is polarized to like things that fold or hands that dominate us. He doesn't call off with worse, unless it's like king queen suited or the occasional like king jack suited thing. But we're never ever crushing, which is why I think that's a bit unnecessary. I'd probably just call and let that guy call, because we're setting a good price for us, and then that guy closes the actions. And generally speaking, a weak passive player is never going to reopen the action because he's made a mistake by min raising, so we can exploit that by seeing a flop 3 ways and just being very, very cautious on ace high flops. Folding pre is actually fine as well, but I kind of hate folding in general. Given how weak he looks, I'd be isolating here, especially because we have the equity call off versus 6 big blinds, and we can comfortably raise fold him. So I've been making it like 7-7-7, maybe 7-8-8, somewhere around that region, like 2.6ish, and then just isolate. Especially because you can see he's going to have a really weak range. Yeah, see, Jack 9. Very easy for us to take him, to just exploit him there. Especially when he's going to check down the nuts. We get to set our own price, get to showdown with our ace high when we want, and we get to value bet him when he doesn't fold. Fine. We've shoved 30 bigs effective, that's fine. One thing I really hate doing is just calling here. I mean, people have to be truly awful for that to actually work. Like, it's probably fine at this buy-in, but I mean, if I was sitting here with like 10s, I would fold if you called. Whereas I'll probably still fold anyway, but it's much, much closer if you jam, because you're pretty much just saying I have queens plus every time you flat here. Sometimes ace king. Whereas your calling range, your isolation range is a lot of hands that don't want to go multi-way, so they're like hands like 10s, jacks probably can still flat sometimes, but like jacks through 7s, ace queen, ace jack, hands that want to play well against his open shoving 7 big blind range, but doesn't play well versus anything else. But apparently people are awful. Oh, yeah, that's really hard to fold. I think a fold, like, especially because you play that, if you call, I think it's really hard for him to shove, even though he will. But I don't think it's correct with your range. But nice hold, you get a nice massive stack. Yeah, I'll just call here and hope, and we can expect to check it down with this guy like 100% of the time. Wow, that's stupid of him, but that's fine. Not a big deal. Yeah, just calling's obviously, all you can do. It's just annoying because we flip off a ton. Like, if they were 10 bigs effective, I think it would be close. Or if this guy, if the stacks are reversed and this guy had slightly more, like 10 bigs, I think it's okay to fold because we just don't play very well versus the range and we really want to preserve like a solid stack rather than just punt off in marginal spots. But especially because the big blind can't even isolate anything, I just think get it in, expect to have the required equity and not much more. Yeah, they're all fine. That's fine. Yeah, I like that you don't play too wide under the gun. That's what a lot of people's main flaw is, that they just aren't positionally aware, so their range here will be the same as their range down here, which is pretty god awful. King 6 guess there. That folds fine. I'd be raising, calling this guy off, and folding to a 3-bet from him. He calls, that's pretty bad. Not the greatest board to see bet, but I'd still throw one out there, just given the fact he's flatting. You can probably make it a bit smaller, especially because it's a turbo and the effective stacks is really small everywhere, so everyone in general bets a bit smaller. You can probably make it like 1450 does the same job, and you save yourself like a big blind. But nice hand otherwise. Probably open there given how weak everyone's playing. I mean, you have to call, yeah, you should call this guy off, but I mean, he hasn't shown any indication that he's doing anything out of line, and this one's already established himself as relatively weak, loose weak. And then these two aren't really messing with the stack sizes. But yeah, you would have run into it, so it's fine. Shouldn't really care. I still think it's close to the bottom of the range, but I don't think it's awful by any means. Just fold pre, I think. They've been super tight so far, and they're 2.5 in, which means they don't really know what they're doing, which means their range is probably tighter than it should be. I would be betting the turn though, just because they're never checking back in ace, and I don't think we have that much showdown value because they have weaker pairs. Like they'll fold 10-10, 8-8, 7s, 6-5, not 5, sorry, 6s without diamonds here if we bet. And the last thing we want to do is let them realise the equity by turning a low flush draw and getting the showdown on us when we have no draw. So I'd just be betting to fold out their equity share. See? Yeah, exactly. That turns off a king of diamonds, and he wins the pot. Whereas we had virtually no showdown versus range. Because the only king high hands we beat are like king 10, which is reasonably unlikely, and then like queen jack, jack 10. And they're especially unlikely because there's only the suited combinations. So there's only 3 combos of each of them, because there's already the diamond one obviously gone. But yeah, I think we got quite lucky there. I'd much rather just bet turn. We call off there. Just fold. Like 9-7 doesn't play that well against, even though they've got like 3 big blinds each, it's just unnecessary. Especially because this guy's yet to act with a reasonable stack. Like he 3-bets you and we've just punted a reasonable amount of chips. That's what, 8 big blinds that we don't need to put in there. No, but we flop well. We flop very well. I still don't think it's correct though. I think that's just really unnecessary. Oh no, wait, was that even you? Yeah, it was you. Yeah. Like I'd be probably getting it in, what's my range there? Probably getting it in with, I don't know, like 8s plus, no, 9s, nah, 10s plus, and like hands that dominate, so like king queen's probably worth a call, and like ace jack plus, ace 10. Just hands that dominate and hands that like flop best hands 3-way, because your equity 3-way is drastically different to your equity heads up. Small pairs go from being a reasonable favourite over most hands to being a massive dog 3-ways. Just because you're looking like 2's just 2-2 multi-way in terms of equity is just awful because you just don't dodge overcards that well. the more of them there are out there. Yeah, another fold. Good. Could open here. It's not mandatory. His stack makes it annoying, as does his, but equally I think we can raise fold to their stacks just because his is kind of gross too. But their jamming ranges are going to be so tight that we just don't have any equity. Blind versus blind is a different story, obviously. That's fine. Fine. Must be nice. Yeah, just folding. Really, yeah, open. You can raise fold to both of them, especially in turbo. Like, I'd actually rather open limp than fold, to be honest. I would much rather raise than limp, but I'd rather open limp than fold. Again, min raise. The sizing just makes it so much harder for people to jam on you, and you don't want to like make this person incorrectly fold when we can make them call with stupid hands. Check backs, okay. There's not a huge reason to bet that turn. There's not a hell of a lot of draws out there. Equally, the king, when he checks back the king, he will have like a weak king some of the time. Like king 10, king jack might check back occasionally, and I don't really see us getting called by worse. So I'd probably check back, and then if we think he can bluff river, then bet the river. But again, it doesn't really make much difference. We're never really getting called by worse or folding out better. So it's a bit of a zero bet. Yeah, fold. We can probably just call here and assume he'll fold, or we can also ISO jam. I think I prefer ISO jamming just because how shallow we've suddenly become. But he would have dominated, so maybe he's super tight and I didn't realize, or he just woke up with the top of his range. Either or. It's a gross sizing. Yeah, I fold to that as well. If he'd min raised, if he'd been active and min raised, I'd do like a jam there. But it's hard to say. I'm jamming that pretty comfortably, especially in a turbo, because there's 5-minute levels. We don't really want to preserve like a 13 mid blind stack. We want to constantly be garnering our fold equity and maintaining a high stack, especially because this guy's out. So we're really only jamming through, most of the table, but it's not really. I'd be jamming like king jack suited, ace 9. Yeah, this is probably bot. This is ace 10. Yeah, ace 10's an easy jam, I think. Ace 10 off, probably ace 9 suited, king jack suited, king queen suited. King jack's probably a fold. King queen suited. Like 8s plus, maybe 7s. Yeah, 7s plus. Maybe king jack. I don't know. I toss and turn a bit, but yeah, I don't think we really have the room to be folding there, especially when the blinds have just gone up. So if that was the last hand before the blinds go up, it makes it an even easier shove, because we really want to maintain a stack with reasonable fold equity. And 10 big blinds these days just doesn't have as much fold equity as people like to think it does. Shipping. Is this? No, this doesn't seem like. You told me. Dave told me there's a hand where he sat out for a bit, but this doesn't seem like enough hands to sit out. Oh, maybe. No, I don't think. If it isn't, this is a really, really easy jam with 10 bigs. Especially when we flop sets. This is definitely a jam as well. You must be sitting out. That's close. Yeah, I'd still be jamming that now that we're like at 7 bigs. Yeah, you must be sitting out. I'd be jamming on them. King X, blind versus blind. Maybe it is close. Most likely we're sitting out given he only bothered to min raise. Because he'd usually just jam his whole range. But I'd probably just don't fold there. Yeah, you're obviously sitting out. Definitely sitting out. I'll just skip right through. And we're back with 1.5 big blinds. Yeah, you gotta call it off. I mean, the antes are just destroying you. And this gives us, like, we're not dominated that often. It would be much worse calling here with, like, ace-2, where we're really drawing to 3 outs, possibly 0 outs. Yeah, it's probably bad, but I'd most likely get it in as well. And obviously we bank, and we hold. Oh yeah, there we go. No, don't do that. I don't think this is good at all. I mean, he's jamming like a stupidly small stack here, but he's also jamming like from early position when he could wait another hand and shove from under the gun. So his range from under the gun is going to be way wider than his range from under the gun +1. Plus, we dominate nothing, and we have a reasonable amount of time to look for something good to open shove. Not to mention, the earlier we get, the more hands we get to open shove, just because the more times it's, folded to us. But yeah, that was pretty lucky, in my opinion. And we're back to 10 bigs, 15, no, 13 bigs. Well, cool. Fine with that. Yeah, you have to call that off. Hopefully hold. Yep. What happened here? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, ripping's just fine. No. Oh, great hand to turn over. Fine with that. Fine with that. Yeah, that's fine as well. This guy is really active. So if we see a chance to just get it in versus him with anything resembling a value range, we should be looking for it. Because, I mean, he's going to be pricing to call us off, and he's just got some... He must be playing some absolutely awful hands. Yeah, and he's not even 3-betting on top of his range, by the looks of it. Yeah, he just flats on top of his range. So that's a really easy note. That when he 3-bets, his range is super air-weighted, or at least like a depolarized value range. Because, I mean, he's flatting kings just under the gun open with a very committing stack. And, yeah, it's not good. And then check raising the driest flop in the world, which isn't the worst, I guess. I think that's a... yeah, I think that's a jam. Yeah, I can't really see what else we do, but I don't really expect him to follow the tunnel. But I just... yeah, he seems too short to walk out. Although... How is he... Yeah, we could actually walk him there, really. It's pretty tight, but like... Blind versus blind, he's going to call so wide that's going to be close to correct. So I think we can just open fold there. Or limp if you want, but I think we're a bit too short for that. Yeah, I'd be much more inclined to be jamming that hand than that, because that has so much more equity versus his calling range. Again, I don't understand why you ISO all of these short stack shoves. It's like you're just punting to get into a flip, which is just not a good thing to do, because you were just decimating our stack. Wait a minute, am I misreading these stack sizes? Yes, I am. We're way deeper. Yeah, never mind. It's kind of weird doing this by myself. I suppose I'll get used to it. Yeah, that's fine. Just gotta get there. Yep. I think his call is way too loose, by the way. It's just like we want to be looking for large edges, not small edges. Again, I don't think he's going to call us really wide, so I just don't see why we need to. Like, I'd rather shove a range that does okay when called rather than hands that are just going to be completely and utterly don't like. Much rather ship that than the hands you just shipped blind as blind. That's fine. Yeah, see, we just shipped worse hands than this twice. I think, gotta think about the ranges we're playing here. I'd be shipping that if it got to us unopened. Yeah, that's good. I like how you did that. Oh, fuck's sakes. My bad. That's fine. I'm just having a bit of a mare with the replayer. Yeah, I saw if it gets to us. Oh, we're going to dominate, which is awesome. But, I mean, we're just too short. Like, if he had a little bit bigger stack where he actually had some, room to maneuver, then I'd be more inclined to just, like, make a tight fold there. But given his stack, his range just widens considerably. That's a fine fold. Yeah, just ship it in. Or just, yeah, make a ridiculously scary raise. That's actually kind of cool, thinking about it. Because we only have, we only have 17 bigs. So, I mean, no, we don't even have that, sorry, we have like 11 bigs now. Making it like 3.5 and just calling off looks ridiculous. So, oh, wait, we're just covering him. Yeah. I like it though, because it just looks absurd rather than just clicking jam. Don't love this, don't expect to have a lot of fold equity. Yeah. And don't do well when called. Yeah. Like, it's just unnecessary. 3s plus don't fold there. Nothing folds there. I just think it's an easy fold pre and just look for more profitable shove spots. Now that we're deeper, we should be raising into these stacks, because this is the general theme so far, is that we get a 20 big blind stack and then fold down to 10, 7 bigs and then shove or call offshore these. I think that's just a pretty routine open, especially because no one's displayed the ability to 3-bet jam. Yeah, min raise, because it's just going to hurt you when you have to do other things, and people don't change their calling range when you do this. It's not making the SPR any better, so just min raise. I think you should. Yeah, the check back's fine, I think, on that flop. It just smashes the calling range. So when he checks turn, I don't expect him to have much. But we also don't want a diamond, a 10 or 7, or a queen to peel, so I'm fine with betting. Sizing wise, probably go smaller, like third pot, like 3-3-3-3-3. But it's not awful by any means, it's fine. Just fold, yeah. Just fold. Yeah, these blind levels are absurd. Just folding. I'd be open shipping if it got to us unopened. Probably one of the weakest hands I'd be doing it with. Possibly even a little wide. But I just don't think, like, we're 170 hands in, so we must be approaching the bubble pretty soon, given it's a turbo. So I probably should have noted down when it was so we could adjust our calling ranges at the time. But that's okay. Fold, fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know why you'd shove this hand and then fold some of the other ones that we shoved earlier. That's fine, definitely. If we're gonna raise, I mean, if people are bad enough to ship on us, that's fine. But I'd much rather min raise it. There's no real reason to put something onto it. Like a lot of people do, I know, and I just don't like it. See, the bigger the sizing at these effective stacks, the worse the player. So that should be a note, hopefully, when you're playing this. Yeah. You can raise fold it if you want, you could ship it, but I don't think folding's awful either. Just hold on a sec, guys.
What's that?
Looks like we're back, sorry about that. My sister had to borrow an umbrella off my girlfriend for some reason. It's been pointed out that I didn't even describe what this was. This is my 2K post review. I put up a thread about it, and Bluffyou was very interested. He just shipped something, so I thought this would make a good history for it. Why you can't see the bottom is that I removed it, because I think you guys being able to see the hands is kind of counterproductive to our ranges and discussion, and I try not to look at it. I've got it scrolled all the way down to the back, so I could only see for the first 10 or so hands. So we can both be equally surprised by what comes. It's a $5 tournament, and judging from the levels going up, it's at least a turbo. It's probably on Sunday, given the amount of runners and the amount of players have been dropping. But yeah, let's continue with this. It's fine. God, these levels just rocket. Yeah, I'll be calling here. It's probably one of the worst hands. Wow, getting overcalled really sucks. But that's fine. Flopping full houses is always nice. Yeah, I think we're way ahead of his range. And he's not going to overcall us much. And when he does, like, it sucks. But it's not happening often enough. It's probably happening, like, 10% of hands. So it's just not happening that often, especially when it's relatively discounted by his range. That's a fold. It's nice to get triple ups, but we really want to maintain a bigger stack, so I think we can be raise fold into a lot of these stacks. Obviously having the reshoves behind is pretty bad, but I haven't seen anyone raise 3-bet yet. Everything's been open shipping. Like, unopened rather than over an opener. Yeah, so I think we can open this. Like, yeah, these guys are really small, but I don't think they ship on us nearly enough to bet that, and we can just call off. No, he's way bigger than I thought, not him, but we can just, raise fold it if we have to. We're also short-handed now, which means it's probably the bubble, or some form of bubble, which means we should be opening. 4x, that's awful. I'd be fish tagging him straight away. Sorry, but I would be 21 bigs effective, 22 bigs effective. We could do a few things here. We could, it really depends on your read. If you think he's awful, I'd just go ahead and like 2.2, 2.3 it, and go from there. And if he shoves, we can fold to some opponents if they're really tight. Other ones we can... Sorry, that's my phone. Just give me a sec. Sorry about that. I am recording at home, so there's people around, but that's fine. We could raise call if we think he's going to 3-bet shove worse. We could open shove if we think he's going to be reshoving hands that have decent equity against us, but he's just going to fold everything versus our shove. We could limp shove if we think he's going to isolate us. Not isolate, sorry. If he's going to raise fold a lot to us, which is probably my preference versus anyone like good that I have a dynamic with. Since we don't have a dynamic, my default would just be like 2.3, 2.2, 2.3, and evaluate. Don't like making it this big again, just because, especially if we intend to fold. It's not so bad if we intend to call, but yeah, fold is fine. Awful sizing. Yeah, that's a pretty nutted range. It's nice to get walked out. Yeah, if we're going to open min raise, because if you're planning to fold, you're just lighting big blinds on fire by doing this. That's kind of ideal, having the worst player on the table. Like, that's kind of the ideal spot to raise, really, on this table, because we're raising into the only stack that really is big enough, and the only player that seems awful enough to just call and just do awful things on the flop. His sizing's kind of small, which makes me... I don't mind raising it. I also don't mind floating it and just beating turns when he gives up. But I do like your sizing. It could probably even be a little bit smaller. But it gets the job done. That's nice. Like, the reason I think raising there is good because he's just going to incorrectly bet fold random hands. Like, he'll just lead out. Like, he calls with draws and he calls with eights. He'll bet fold a 5. He'll probably bet fold, like, 6s, 3s, 4s, 2s. Random ace high hands. Random king high hands. A lot of stuff that we don't... Like, we have no showdown value. And versus anyone that can hand read, we don't actually rep that much by raising. We rep over pairs. And... we rip like 9s plus 8x, and which there's not very much of in our opening range, and like yeah, so like I like this less if he was confident, but since he's awful, I think we can just raise fold to him on the flop and save ourselves a headache. He's 3x'd with, God, these stacks are so massive, 120k. Yeah, I'm just folding to his 3x. He's not really doing anything. Yeah, that's fine. I like that. Yeah. I'm okay with that. We could equally limp it, but it's not a big deal either way. Most other players I talk to don't like doing that, but I like having a limping range at like, you know, anywhere over 13 bigs effective, 14 bigs effective, blind versus blind. Because we just get, like, firstly, ignoring the price seems bad. And secondly, like, we can construct, like, once we've limp folded once or twice, we can limp hands that we have equity to call off with that we feel are too strong to jam. Like, you could limp jacks here. And the thing is, people kind of criticize it with non-logical reasons. Like, they're like, it's always air when you limp, or it's always jacks. Like, I'll just check give up versus this. And if people check give up versus this, then we can play it well. And if people just never believe it, then we can do it with a wider range and just limp fold once or twice, and it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it's not something I'm even entirely sure about. It's just something I've been thinking about lately, so I'm not really super convinced either way. Folding, yeah. God, these blinds are brutal, man. This is just a fold, I think. Especially when this guy overcalls, because it's just chucking, you know, 2 big blinds away when we don't have to. Wait, how deep is it? Yeah, 2 big blinds. But flopping sets is amazing. I'd be leading this flop. I'd be leading this flop for something annoyingly small, like 1.5 big blinds. And then I'd be betting turn. Oh, he just piles on us. Wow. That's, yeah, you can't fold, obviously. But that's just an awful turn card and a beautiful, beautiful river. Open shipping if it got to us. He's got 30 bigs, we've got 40. I think we can isolate him here. Like, we only have to get in with this guy, and we've got equity versus range. We can raise fold to these two. So I'd probably make it like 1100, or, yeah, you know what I mean, 1 1 1 1 1, or 1 2 2 2 2 2 2. Your options. Because I found a more effective way of saying my raise sizes rather than just counting numbers out. Folding's fine. Min raise, but we've been over that. Hold. Yes, we do. kind of one of those rivers where you're like, oh, that sucks, and then realize that you've just killed them dead. Yeah, this is one of the hands that I'd like to limp. If he was at all aggressive, like limp call. But default, I'd be making it smaller. I don't really see the need to jam on him. Because that's a hand that just dominates so much of his range that we don't mind getting it in versus range. Like, even if we widen his range. There's just hands that don't play well against his widen range. For example, if we had 6s there, we just want as much fold equity as possible because our EV play is going to be higher when we garner the most folds, because even though we play okay when called, we don't want them shoving like 8-7 off over our open with 6s, because they are hands that have enough equity that would do better by having them fold, whereas here we dominate so many hands that all those Jack X, AX hands that get in, the wider he gets in, the better for us. Yeah, so it's just different parts of our range play differently, so I think we should be really trying not to push him out with that hand. Open could be fine, but equally it's alright, it's not the end of the world. Fine with that, there's absolutely no need to make a marginal call. Calling range is probably like ace-10 plus there, given he hasn't done much. Again, I'd rather limp and then construct like a limp range from the small blinds. It's fine. I think your bets are too big on all straights. I think you shouldn't. That's just unnecessary. Like, I get that that's like the minimum you raise to. We should really be making it less once the effective stack gets so shallow. And on the flop, I think we don't need to bet over half pot. We can get away with betting like 1300 here, and just saving ourselves, almost a big blind when we're wrong. Because that will make a difference in the future. Yeah, I see it again. I suppose raise folding versus him is fine. But if we're going to do that, we've just thrown away 20k chips. Which doesn't seem like much, but it all adds up. Yeah, that's fine. Given the fact we raise folded the big blind, I don't think we should be opening that hand. That looks outrageous. I'd probably just min raise it and call off. Versus anyone. Making it that big really just isolates the action unnecessarily. We don't want to limp behind, obviously, but I don't think 3xing is necessary per se. It's fine. It's fine. I think after this hand I'll stop part 1. That's good, we'll stop it. I'll be back later.